what's going on, guys? Trev back again here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video giving my thoughts on the current COPPA situation on YouTube. This is for the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. Alright, so a few people went ahead and wanted to hear my opinion on this one because it's basically all over YouTube for people that are interested in a certain space. So anybody who's interested in, as you guys can see from the backdrop, I've always had in my backdrop, you know, action figures, and I like to collect figures and things like that. I like to review some shows that are maybe for younger audiences with comic books and things like that. Maybe the Marvel stuff, Spider-Man, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, one of my all-time favorites. You know, there's lots of different properties that I still enjoy, even as an adult, that I've loved since I was a kid. Maybe Dragon Ball and stuff like this. And so people just asked, you know, I guess to kind of just hear my thoughts on this one and will, you know, what I think about it, if it has any kind of impact on me and the channel here with Trev's Chan 2 and whatnot. So basically, here's what's going on. If you sign into a YouTube account, I know most of you guys don't have YouTube accounts. There's only, you know, a few percentage of the viewers, maybe 1, 2, 3%. Have YouTube accounts that they upload to. Recently, when you sign in, YouTube is basically pushing to get everyone to answer whether or not their channel is directed towards kids. And by kids, it's referring to children under the age of 13. So any kids that are under the age of 13, they're, you know, the FTC is starting to, the Federal Trade Commission in the U.S. is starting to kind of, I'm going to say go on the attack, but they're starting to put slapping some fines, you know, getting paid, right? Yeah, they do. Going after some people online, and YouTube happens to be one of them. So this is a really, really tricky area, and it's okay. So the COPPA Act, or the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, is supposed to protect kids. It took effect in April 2000, so this is an older law that can I say it's like no longer applicable. Well, in terms of, it sounds good in theory, right? That you don't want any companies, be it Google, YouTube, which is, you know, YouTube is a part of Google now and has been for a long time, or any other kind of sites or online services tracking information to kids. Or for kids and from kids that could be used to advertise to them, or I don't know, whatever, to do whatever, like just maintaining the privacy for kids. That tracking data and things like this should not be captured and should not be kept for children, which, I mean, you can get behind that, right? Like in theory, you think of that, you say, yeah, think of the children, protect the children, yeah, right? Yeah, dear God, think of the children, right? It's you know, it's what it is, right? You know, Mama Bear claws coming out, you know, and all over the place, and Father Bear claws too. We can't be sexist with that one. Protect the children, right? So that's what it is. So now, basically, what's happening is there are a lot of YouTube channels and websites and things like this that you know, are geared towards maybe that really young demographic. So the demographic of under the age of 13. We could talk about, you know, I guess I would say, like the properties I just mentioned. You know, some of those are going to be properties that kids are going to look up. You know, do kids like Spider-Man? Yeah, they do. Do kids like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Oh yeah, they do. Do kids like Dragon Ball? Oh yeah, of course they do. Do they like, you know, and I'm not saying necessarily that they're going after these particular categories right now. I don't know. I'm not sure which ones they're going after, which ones they're not, which ones the algorithm deems as whatever, for whatever reason, and how that's tracked and how that's run through in terms of processing. I don't know. I don't work for the YouTube programming team. You'd pretty much have to ask somebody there or get an answer from them if you want to know the inner working details on how they have their algorithm set up and how they're going to enforce this or what they're going to do about this. But they get everybody to agree, hey, are you posting content for kids or not? It's what it is. So with me here with Trev's Chan 2 and the people who have asked, no, I don't post content for kids. That's not a target demographic for me. I don't create videos and publish them with the idea of kids. My demographic for Trev's Chan 2 here with Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, other TV series, movies, things like this, comic books. Even the comic books I review, like Walking Dead comic book series, this stuff is not for kids. You have character deaths, you have brutality, you have violence, you have all kinds of crazy stuff, zombies. Even though Game of Thrones has some dragons and stuff like that, it's certainly not for kids. That's for sure. So definitely some mature themes there. So it's what it is. So it doesn't really apply to me, right? So is the deal. But like I said, some of the other stuff I like to do from time to time. I have done lots of videos for turtles, for example. It's close at least to that category, but it's not intended to be. When I do those videos, I do them for people that are like my age, like me, who have watched some of these properties all the way through since they were younger and they still enjoy them. So what do we think about this one? So there's a lot of channels that are kind of, I guess, maybe in jeopardy. We'll have to see how the whole thing kind of plays out in the next few months here and whether or not some things are changed. YouTube obviously is going to have to figure out what they're going to do, because if you guys look at the, like I just looked earlier, you know what I mean, at some of the stores I go to online, Google and the way the algorithms work for advertising, you go to a store online and then you start browsing on YouTube and you see similar commercials in the sides and, at the bottom, the bars, the commercial ad space, related to what you were just looking at. So they keep the data. Google takes Skynet, takes the data, and I don't have a problem with Google. I appreciate Google. Google's done a lot for me, so it's no problem. But I'm just kidding. But they take some of the data and then they generate advertisements based on the data, this kind of thing. So apparently, based on this act, you're not supposed to do that for kids. And they do have like a YouTube Kids service and then a YouTube regular service. But of course, a lot of the kids are just going to use the regular, YouTube service and watch whatever the hell they want. There's probably some kids who watch Walking Dead, right? I don't know. Zombies is cool. Whatever. Even though, like I said, it's not supposed to be for them, right? Their parents, whatever. The parents got to get involved, whatever. Watch what your kids, watch what little Jimmy's doing, guys. Keep an eye on Jimmy, right? And the sites he's looking at. So you're not supposed to see some of that stuff. So that's what it is. But okay, so what's going to happen here? I don't know. Are they going to shut off all advertising for certain categories that, on YouTube that are under a certain age? So certain types of videos, like all the Lego stuff, let's say, because that's all, geared towards the kids, and certain categories. Are they going to go through and actively shut them off for any kind of advertising or tracking or anything like that, recommendation, any of that stuff? Well, they might do that. They might just shut those off and be like, okay, this is the deal. We're not doing this and we're shutting these off. We're not going to have, ads geared towards children at all or something like this, unless it's uploaded through YouTube Kids service, and then maybe, I don't know, we'll see what they decide to do and how this works. But to keep the privacy, you can't track them, right? You can't track what they're looking at, and if you can't track what they're looking at, then you can, I guess you can do advertising, but it wouldn't be, based on their previous search history or things like that, like we adults get, like I just mentioned that I even get when I'm browsing around based on my prior kind of searches and browser activity. So who knows, man, right now, what's going to happen? Who knows? For some creators, kind of they're crying bloody murder because, it's going to affect them personally. And rightfully so. If you were worried, if you put a lot of years and effort and maybe over a decade, 10 or 15 years into building an online presence on YouTube, and you happen to cover Lego because you happen to love building Legos or something like this, I don't know, whatever people are passionate about. I like zombies, other people like whatever, so that's fine. It's no problem. Could it just take them down to the point where they can't do anything anymore? Yeah, it probably could, because it's all about YouTube CYing and covering their own asses, and not wanting to mess with the FTC, because nobody wants to mess with the FTC. Now, some people are kind of in the middle, so they upload some content that could be deemed for kids, and then other content that could be for adults. People like that, apparently, there's YouTube gets them to kind of agree that their content is not for kids, but somehow they could be slapped with fines anyway. I don't know. I heard figures around like $42,000 per violation and stuff like this. So if they want to come after you, they can come after you. Okay, so I can't provide legal advice or anything like that, because I'm not a lawyer. And even if I was a lawyer, there's people watching this from different countries, different states, different laws, different legal systems completely. So even a lawyer couldn't really give any kind of advice that would be useful to everybody. But I'd say for anybody who has kind of a channel that could be in the middle, what they might want to consider doing is, make an appointment with your lawyer, talk them through, see what they think. Maybe to somebody who's, as long as it doesn't cost too much, who's familiar with online space and this kind of thing. And, maybe they make an appointment with their accountant, talk it through with them. And what I would do if I was in that situation is I would incorporate their channels, incorporate it as a business, and separate myself. Be a shareholder, 100% shareholder, but put it into the business to protect themselves in terms of liability. So what you do is you talk to your accountant, and depending on where you are, you set up a corporation, a legal corpse, right, a dead entity, a corpse, which is different from yourself, so incorporated, separated from yourself in terms of liability. Zero holdings, don't hold any cash in it. Keep the corporation at zero or under $1,000, $50, whatever. And then what you do is you pay yourself out the wage of 100% of whatever. You keep the corpse at broke all the time. Then if the FTC comes after you, you say, whoa, hey, I don't own that. It's a corporation, right? It's a corporation. Okay, maybe I'm a shareholder in the corporation, but you got to go after the corporation. So then they go after the corporation, which has zero holdings and everything like that anyway. And if they slap it with all kinds of fines, you just bankrupt the corporation. Is what you do. You just shut it down. You say, okay, there you go. That way you're not personally liable for anything yourself, because the corporation is a separate legal entity, can handle the liability, and you don't have it solely on yourself as like a sole proprietor type of deal, which most people who have YouTube businesses, YouTube channels, websites are. So that's one idea. I don't know if it would work in all cases. Again, there's lots of people here from different countries, different states, and everything. And I'm not providing legal advice. I'm saying if I was in that situation, that's what I would look to do, is to separate myself, get the liability off of me into the corporation, $0 holdings. If it gets attacked by the FTC and they want to put some heat on it, bankrupt it, shut it down, don't do it anymore, and you're done. You lose no money. Corporation shuts down, you can't do it anymore. That sucks as well, but you won't personally be liable. The corporation's liable, it can't pay, and so it files and shuts down. Now granted, there's going to be some costs involved, so this is probably not for your lower end type of thing. This is for your big, the people that do this as a profession, I'd say, or they make a lot of money doing YouTube. Million subscriber plus type of accounts, or maybe 500,000 or further might be okay. And so that's what I would do to protect myself. I mean, I should freaking do it anyway, because it's like, can people come after you and sue you for different shit you didn't even think of? Like some of the stuff I say online here, if somebody want to come after you because of some of the things you say, they could say defamation, they could say stuff like this. It's probably good anyway to have it separated legally as a different entity, so that if someone comes after you, it will be liable instead of you personally. So they can't, personally sue you. They have to sue the corporation itself. So this is smart stuff, right, that you can do. I don't know if it will work in all cases. In some cases, it might not. I don't know viably in the future if doing those kind of channels for that age category is going to work or not, or what YouTube's going to decide to do, and how the advertising would work. But TV advertises to kids. They have toy commercials. They have kid commercials. McDonald's comes on with their kids' meals and whatever else, and obviously that advertising is targeted towards children on certain networks. And Saturday morning, like when we grew up, Saturday morning cartoons. I mean, you want to tell me those aren't targeted towards kids? Are you out of your goddamn mind? You think you're going to see insurance company commercials during Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on Saturday mornings? No. You're going to see Playmates toys, the Technodrome, and all this stuff, and all the kids' eyes are going to, the adrenaline is going to pump, and their eyes are going to go all buggy, and they're going to say, oh my goodness, I've got to get a Technodrome. That's what's going to happen. So, I don't know, man. I'm lost in the gray in this one. I'm not going to come out here and say, like, oh, right or wrong, this or that or whatever. It's just like, I don't know. So anyway, people want to hear my thoughts on the COPPA thing. There it is. What I would do, separate yourself, incorporate it, zero holdings, pay yourself 100% of the shareholder earnings. If they sue it, you shut it down, you bankrupt it, and you don't lose hardly anything yourself. Maybe a couple $1,000s to do the accounting or lawyer stuff in case of said scenario. I don't know. It's one idea. Would it work for everybody? I don't know. But that's what I would do. However, in this game, with regards to kind of that disagreeable, this is a disagreeable personality trait to start a business and to go against the just getting a job type thing, which is an agreeable, get a job, 9 to 5, 40 years, whatever. That's the agreeable conformist life plan, right? Try to move up, be a manager one day, whatever. When you're in your 50s, maybe you make a bunch of money, whatever, retire when you're 70 or whatever. I don't know. That's the agreeable conformist life plan. For crazy, disagreeable entrepreneurs, which YouTube is full of, because that's what you have to be if you want to do it most of the time. You got to be a disagreeable, crazy person to do a YouTube business like that and to do something like that. For those people, don't stop being disagreeable. Just do it legally, right? That's it. Just do it. Get your lawyers on it and do it in a way that protects you. You know what I mean? So, but in this space, the future is unknowable. You don't know what's going to happen in the future as an entrepreneur. That's what you get into as part of the game. Even if you're renting out a small building or something, and some loser tenant decides to take a dive on the stairs and say, "Oh, that was broken, and now I broke my hip, and you're liable," right? It's like, yeah, you should probably incorporate in case sleazebag, undetectable tenant decides to take a dive and try to say that it was you because you didn't fix whatever, the railing or some shit, and then tries to sue you or something. You know what I mean? You should probably it should be incorporated so you're more protected, right, from said government authority or said sleazebag tenant that wants to screw you around, right? So is what it is. Anyway, that's it for the video, guys. Let me know what you think. Thumb it up below. Share, favorite it. Hope it all works out for the YouTubers that are in that space and do that thing. And I'll see you guys again soon. As always, this is Trev saying peace later, guys. See you soon.